So we on? Okay, cool. We on. Hey, what's up, y'all? And welcome to the 22nd episode of Trippin with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. I go by AT. I go by Dre-Theo. I go by Dre. And I probably have some more nicknames yet to come, but welcome to the show. And before we continue, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Jam up the comments, do all that fun stuff because we going to get into it today. So, in the past, I know I've said, in the past, I've always said that when it comes to episode 23, I'm going to do a special episode. And right now we are on episode 22. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in for me or tuning in with me for 22 episodes. But the next episode is going to be a special edition episode. For those that don't know, my birthday is January 23rd. So the number 23 is kind of a big deal for me. So I'm thinking the next episode I do, it's going to be the Mad Hatter episode, special edition. All right. Like I'm gonna put all my hats out there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do this with all my videos you've seen me in and all these different hats that I be wearing. In the comment section, I want y'all to guess to see, how many hats you think I have. That's fitteds, I can't even talk right now. That's fitteds, snapbacks, and dad hats. Because I have all three. I used to really wear fitteds back when I was in college and high school, but I stopped wearing them because, like, over time, I feel like they kind of shrink and the shape doesn't stay the same, But with like a snapback, you can always adjust it to bubble out, to make it have that nice fit, that nice, bigger fit or whatever, Like this right here is a snapback, And then like I got out of wearing snapbacks and I started wearing dad hats because it's easier to travel with dad hats, and but I like to mix it up. That's what I do. But anywho, man, like right now, we are at Eric Smedley number of followers, and I'm trying to get to Reggie Gilliam number of followers. So let me go ahead and decode all that for you. So Eric Smedley was a safety for the Bills, late 90s, early 2000s. He wore the number 40. So I have 40 followers right now. I have 40 subs. I keep getting subs and followers mixed up. I have 40 subs right now on YouTube, and I'm trying to get to 41 subs. So if you can tell a friend, it will be greatly appreciated so I can get to Reggie Gilliam number of subs. And Reggie Gilliam is a fullback for the Bills right now. He wears number 41. So as y'all know, I'm a Bills fan. I know this is a Wizards hat, but if you want to know why I like the Bills, Wizards, Nationals, and Sabres, go back and watch my older videos. Already talked about that. So anywho, we have been talking for 3 minutes, and the rule, thanks to Kwame Brown for figuring this out. But now we can talk this shit the way that we can talk this shit. I said that kind of a little too hype, I was calm the fuck down, right? But now I can cuss a little bit, and get loose, get in the pocket, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, and for those that don't know, the show is called Trippin with Theobold because I trip literally, so I just did it right there, right? Because I trip literally and figuratively, I literally trip in speech, grew up with a speech impediment, I still have some remnants of it, so when I mess up, I just say, man, come on, Dre, and then we move on because we don't do edits, and then I trip figuratively in thought, meaning that I have a lot of crazy ideas, thoughts, or whatever. I'm not afraid of asking questions outside the box, so hence the name Trippin with Theobold. So I think I did that okay, right? Yeah, I did that good. So let's go ahead and come on, Dre. Man, I'm up here. I feel like my brain is on roller skates right now. So what happens, like, when you, a lot of times, like, a lot of people don't know, but when you, like, grow up with a speech impediment or whatever, it's like your body starts to it starts to, like, constrict, and everything gets tight, and nothing wants to move, and it's like you're too afraid to. And it's not just like the mechanics that lock up. It's like your brain, your thought locks up. Everything kind of like, what you want to say, but it's like your whole body is like in a state of like fright. Like, the whole thing with like flight or fight. Well, it's like you're kind of more in flight than you are in fight. It's actually a pretty interesting concept. Because you got some. I know some stutterers out there that are fighters. Like, they're gonna sit there and they're gonna fight through everything they gotta say. And then you have some stutterers, like, that will try to evade or elude certain situations, so they don't even have to deal with it, because they know what battles they can fight and which ones they can't fight. So I'll probably talk about that some other time. But anywho, this is Veterans Week. Yesterday was Veterans Day, but I like to celebrate the week. I feel like the veterans have earned it. So if you're a veteran, thank you for your service. I take serving very, very seriously. My family, like, damn near everyone in my family served. Like, man, I can go, man. I think I had someone serve in almost every war since, like, this country started. So anywho, I want to shout out the 6888 Battalion. It's the first all-black, all-women's battalion to serve overseas in war, and it's the only, I think, too. If you don't know anything about the 6888, go look them up. They were a very special group. My grandma was a part of that 6888. And they went overseas and backlogged a whole lot of mail and made sure that the mail got to the soldiers and stuff. And their whole rallying cry was, no mail, low morale, right? So when people hear, oh, all they did was go over there and sort mail, nah, nope. If you really want to break it down and you really want an analogy for what they did, the 6888, they were the internet back during World War II. Think about that shit. They were the internet. Like, a lot of these, like, if you go back and look up some documentaries and look up like some speeches and talks that they had, like, they're all over YouTube and they're starting to kind of gain some momentum and some traction. But if you actually listen to them or whatever, like, they went in there and they had like people and families were sending like care packages with like cakes and food and stuff and letters. It was all types of stuff, and some of this mail was so backlogged that it was like getting like infested with rats and all. It's a bunch of stuff. But anyways, these women went back and pieced together these pieces of mail and made sure that the mail or the message from their loved ones got to the soldiers. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big deal, because a lot of women that were back home waiting on their husbands to come back, if they didn't hear back from them, man, they just started a whole new family. You know what I'm saying? So if it wasn't for the 6888, a lot of families wouldn't have been intact. So anywho, this is something that I got for myself. It's a hoodie. I think I showed it off already, but it's it's a picture of the 6888 Battalion, lining up for like roll call. And my grandma is right. Let me see if I can get y'all a better picture. My grandma is right there. That's my grandma right. Hope y'all can see that. I'm working with this camera. I'm trying to. Here we go. Yep, my grandma's right there. Yep, that's my grandma. and he passed away last year, the age of 98. Still had all, man. She was still sharp, man. Still everything was intact, man. And there's a few six triple eight, a few six triple eights left. I think there's maybe like 4 or 3 left. And I think they're working on getting their Congressional Medal of Honor still. I don't know why it's taking so long, but I mean, it is what it is. But happy Veterans Day to all the people out there that served, that have served, that are serving. We appreciate you. And that's my shout out. That's my shout out promo for the week. So let's go ahead and get into some sports talk. So I'm drinking this ginger ale because for the past, my apologies for not being as consistent as I want to be, because I was supposed to put a video up last week, but I didn't. I started, the beginning of this week, I started to feel a little buggish, so I made sure I'm drinking a lot of water, I'm drinking my fluids, eating a lot of soup, getting a lot of rest, staying inside away from people, so I'm feeling a lot better than I was feeling on Monday, but I'm just drinking this ginger ale because I'm trying to get this rest of this bug about me, So NFL talk or sports NFL, we got some big news. Odell Beckham to the Rams. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, man. I feel like the best move the Rams made so far was adding Von Miller to the linebacking core, because truth be told, I don't think that Jared Goff was the problem of the Rams last year. I think the problem was the defense wasn't showing up in big games. Like when they played the Seahawks, they should have smacked the Seahawks in that playoff game last year, but they didn't. So I feel like they spent a little too much to get Stafford, in my opinion. Like I said, I think he has much better arm talent in terms of accuracy, but we all know Stafford's not that durable. If he gets hit, he's kind of like on the 10-man side of the game, I mean, he's tough, but there's times when he hasn't completed a season, due to injury. And he's older than Goff too, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like the Rams gave up a whole lot to get an older, more precise, injury-prone quarterback, but that's just my opinion. And I think that with what they have with Cooper Kupp, I mean, he's already the best receiver in the league, so why did he want to go and get another best receiver in the league, Like, I'm not sure how that's going to work out. It's going to be interesting because the ball can only go to so many players, So if Odell starts to hog up targets, maybe Cooper Kupp is cool with that, But come on, Dre. But the Rams are built to try to win now, and they have to win now because they gave up a lot of shit to get Von Miller. They gave up a lot to get Stafford. So if they don't win the Super Bowl, they're not gonna win one for a long time. Like if they don't win the Super Bowl within the next 2 years, they ain't gonna win that shit for like 10, 15 years at least, because they're gonna have to gut because they're gonna have to gut that whole team. They're gonna have to get new players. They're gonna have to let all those bullshit picks they got in the trade go through and filter out. So yeah, they need to go ahead and win now. What else is going on? Yeah, Cam is back. That's good news, man. I'm happy for Cam Newton, man. I felt like he kind of got a raw deal. Well, he knew what it was in New England. Like, he knew that they didn't want him. It was just one of those things where Belichick was like, okay, let me try this new mobile quarterback shit. And Belichick was like, it's not for me. So he got cut. But Cam should have been picked up by another team, though. Like, I mean, I don't see why. Like, he wasn't. Like, he should have been picked up by the Jets. He could have got picked up by He could have got picked up by so many other teams, man. But whatever. I'm just glad he's back, and he's back on the Panthers. And it's like he's probably gonna finish out the season starting at their quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get them to the playoffs. Man, that would be dope. You know. Yeah, and then this whole Dalvin Cook thing, I haven't really heard anything. Like, this is like new to me. Like, it just kind of came up in my ESPN news app thing, but evidently there's some sort of a domestic violence charge against him or whatever, and he claims that the truth is going to come out. So I was going to wait for more facts to come out, but I hope that brother's okay. I hope everything is okay with him, man. Because you know how the NFL is with football players, and especially black football players, in the whiff of any kind of domestic violence. If they get a whiff of that shit, they just gonna try to, throw you to the stake or burn you to the stake. But I don't want to get into all that, man. I'm not in here to be a domestic violence coach. I don't do that. Like, y'all know my take on this shit. Like, or if you don't, my take on the whole shit is, you should never, just in life in general, right? It shouldn't even come down to domestic violence only, but you should never let someone put you in a position to where they can knock you off of your square. Like, that's one of the most important keys in life, right? Is you got to be able to know when people are pissing you off, and then how do you carve out an island to where you don't allow them to get within your island to piss you off. That's a very important skill. It's a very important skill in life. You got to know who's getting to you and analyze, why are they getting to me? Why is it like this? But for the most part, you just have to know, know yourself, and know that, when it comes to that kind of shit, you got to be able to, cut people out, Now, I'm not saying you got to cut people out cold turkey. I mean, you might have to cut them out cold turkey, but it's like you just don't allow them within certain areas of your life to where they can get you rattled. You know what I mean? I've been in situations like that where I know a person or whatever, if they, like, if they're getting under my skin, I know how to leave. Like, I'm not trying to prove anything. All right? I'm a punk bitch. Okay, I'm a punk bitch. Let me get the fuck out of the way. That's how I operate. And if you want to talk all the shit you want to talk behind I don't care. Like, that talking shit behind my back don't bother me. You know what I'm saying? It's when I allow you in my space to say that shit to my face. That's when that's why I don't let that shit happen. You know what I mean? Because I know me. All right? It's all about just knowing self. So, anywho, what else we got going on, man? Daily fantasy sports, man. My palms itching, man, but I ain't winning shit. Like, it's been a shitty Millie Maker Sunday season so far, man. But I still have hope. Yeah, I'm trying to get this Millie so I can tap out, man. And the pattern is pretty much a wash now, right? Like, remember before I think I broke down to you guys, there was a pattern going on where there was a new quarterback every week in the perfect lineup, that is, right? There's a new quarterback, and then you had two new running backs. Then you saw, like, at least one or two repeat receivers, but there was always one new receiver. And then there's always a new tight end. And what else? And the flex was always a receiver, which is pretty interesting. Like, the flex was always a receiver within the range of like $41 to $4,600, which is pretty fascinating for like 8 weeks. That's pretty fascinating, And then defense was, it's whatever. You just gotta, like, you pick your defense last. That's the best thing. That's the best thing I can say. Just pick your defense last. Don't. I mean, all positions will get you a win, but you want to make sure you get all the players right first, then get the defense. But anyways, that whole pattern is like a wash, I think, now. I think Lamar Jackson, did he get it a few? Maybe the quarterback is still holding up, but I know the running back pattern is a wash because Joe Mixon made that list again, and Joe Mixon is always hurt. So I guess we can conclude that since the Bengals have a better team, Joe Mixon has more incentive to want to play. Whereas in the past, when they were trash, if he was hurt, he just stayed out. So maybe that's what it is. But he made the perfect list, and then Nick Chubb finally scored 30 points, man, in fantasy. Like, he should have been scored. I mean, so Nick Chubb always scores, like, he's a consistent, like, he's going to get you like 26, 27 points a game fantasy wise, but for the value, like, I'm not going to pay $6,000 for a running back to get me 27 points. I'm not doing that. I need 30 at least, So he's always like at the $6,000 mark, and he'll even go up to like the low sevens, like the low 7,200s, And when he goes to the low 7,200s, I need like 30, 35, But he put up like 30s. I think he was like maybe like mid sixes. So that's why he made the perfect lineup that week, And then tight end was interesting. George Kittle was coming back off injury, and he put up 24 points. He was like $4,900, So, but I typically have spent like under $3,000 on a tight end, So, but that's neither here nor there. I gotta go back and just kind of like rethink like my picking strategy. I think I'm gonna stick with what I just said, meaning I'm gonna pick my defense last, because you can spend all this bread on a defense. Like, if you spend like $4,000 on a defense, you better get 20 points out of it. And it's like, I'd rather chalk that up and say, you know what, I'll take a chance on a no-name defense that's going up against someone else that has. I'm gonna start looking for trap games. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look for trap games of teams that are playing bum teams, and if it's a trap game, and if the defense is like under $2,700, and I'm gonna rock with that defense just to save some cash, But what else we got going on? My bum of the week that messed up my shit last week, man, was Chase Edmonds. I was heavy on Chase Edmonds last week because Kyler Murray was out. They had a lot of injuries on offense, and Chase Murray was due, like, per the data, he's due for like at least like a 25-point game. So I went all in on Chase Edmonds, man, and this dude got hurt, I think, like in the first quarter. I think he maybe got like 3 yards rushing or something like that, because I only got 0.3 fantasy points from him. But I mean, he got hurt or whatever, so he's not a bum. But it's just I'm talking in terms of the numbers. I don't look at injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, so that was a blower. But yeah, that's that. What you gonna do? But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to NBA. I gotta talk about this Markieff Morris and Jokic shit, man. Nigga, that shit was hilarious, man. I don't care what anyone says, man. That shit, that's good old 90s basketball right there, man. That was 90s hoop. That was 90s competitive hoop right there, man. Like I said, my mom put me on the basketball when I was young. So I've been watching basketball since the early 90s. Probably late 80s, But for those of y'all, in case you guys didn't see it, the Miami Heat were playing Denver, and Denver was beating the brakes off of Miami. So Jokic was bringing the ball across half court. It was late fourth quarter, and I think the Heat were pissed that they didn't start to sub their players out. And that's a thing in the NBA. Like, motherfuckers be acting like little hoes in the NBA. Like, they don't like getting beat. So what happens is if it's like a rule where if you're blowing a team out, the team that's blowing the other team out is supposed to go sub their players out. Or I think the team that's blowing the other team out is supposed to sub their players out, and then they'll sub their players out, and that's how they say, that's game, But there's still time on the clock, you know what I'm saying? So the Nuggets left their players in and they were up by like 15-20. I think they're up like 15-20 or something like that. And Jokic was bringing the ball across half court. And as he went to go shoot the ball, Markieff Morris went to foul him, but he gave him a hard hip check foul and turned his back and kept walking, right? And it wasn't, here's the thing, right? It's like, that was a fuck you foul, right? Like, he was pissed. So basically, if Markieff Morris, like, if he was going to foul him, like, he could have grabbed his arms to prevent the shot from going up, or he could have hip checked him and then grabbed him and been like, hey, man, my bad, I had to foul it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just to make sure he was okay. But he hip checked him. And Jokic is a big dude. Like, he's a 7-footer. So if you hip check someone like that and it's awkward and he comes down wrong, that can mess up his knee. So Markieff Morris hip checked him hard and turned his back as if Jokic wasn't going to do nothing. And Jokic just instinctively went behind him and just, it was nasty, man. And gave him a shoulder to the back. Like, my man's head went all like that. That's like, yo, that shit remind me of a football hit from NFL Master Blasters in the 90s. My man's neck went all like that, and he was hurt for a minute on the floor, but he got up and walked it off. But it's like, to me, that's 90s. That's 90s hoop. Like, that's some shit you did back in the 90s, yo. Like, if someone was gonna come up to you and give you a hard fuck you foul, you gotta let them know, hey, don't do that shit no more like that, And there was no fighting, or there was no like fight or nothing like that. But there's a lot of talk going on Twitter and shit between the Morris twins and the Jokic brothers, and that's that new like Gen Z shit. But now I do think that both players should have been suspended. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that Jokic was 100% right or whatever, but at the end of the day, man, it's like, that's something that you gotta do to protect yourself. Because if he didn't do that shit, Morris, like, Markieff would have did that shit again, or he'd been like, oh, this dude is a chump, I can do what I want with him, But I guarantee you one thing: when they play again, it's gonna be bad blood and it's gonna be physical. But I know one thing: when Markieff Morris, if he gives him a hard foul, he gonna always know where Jokic is on the court. Cause Jokic, I ain't think Jokic had it in him, man. I thought he was a big softy, man. But Jokic don't fuck around. So you got a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter saying, like, they're going in on Jokic and, oh, he was wrong, and it's like, yeah, he was wrong, but he was also right, Like, a lot of times in life you have to gut check people. You know what I'm saying? You have to. A lot of times in life it's like a gut check moment. Like, if someone is trying you, and they trying to son you, you gotta let them know, nigga, you're not my father, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So, and you gotta stand your ground. And if you come to blows, you come to blows. Fuck it. I'm not saying do that every single day of the week, but at some point on some things, there's just no compromise. Like, nah, if you cross this line, nigga, I gotta deal with you. I gotta lay hands on you. You know what I mean? Like, you got it. Like, you gotta get this work. But anywho, I thought that shit was hilarious, man. So that was a good 90s throwback NBA moment, man. That's the kind of NBA I like, man. When the shit gets testy, like that brawl shit, like the what's that shit called? That brawl in the Palace between the Pistons and the Pacers. That shit was ugly. Like, that shit was just bad. That was a bad look for the NBA. But that shit we saw with Jokic and Markieff Morris, that's good old healthy meat and potatoes NBA 90s hoop. So that's all I'm gonna say about that, man. Enough of that. So I'm having a little bit more success in DraftKings and NBA. I'm doing the tiers in NBA. Like I said before, I'm not doing I don't have time to go through and do all the budgeting of a salary or of all the salary. I don't have time to go through and do a daily salary budget to look for the best players. I just don't have time for that. So I like to just do my little tiers and see if I can't flip 25 cents into $100 or if I can't flip $1 into 1,000, you know. But shout out to KD, man. KD is hooping. Like KD is like I was worried about James Harden and KD being able to play together, but I think Harden realizes that KD is here, you know. I mean, Harden's also up there too, but to win, I think KD is a little like a top. I think he's above. Yeah, no, he's definitely in that top tier. And then who else is helping me out? The one dude, man, like I said before, the one dude that messed me up last night was Van Vliet, man, on the Raptors, man. Like when he's either like with Van Vliet, he's either gonna start off the game super hot or he's gonna be cold. But when he's hot, it's like just forget it. If you didn't pick Van Vliet, nigga, that's your lineup, you know. And back to football right quick. So I'm in this fantasy pool, and I didn't know they were doing this, but I think because we're at the halfway mark, they started over again. So they basically crowned the winner of the first half of the pool for the first half of the season. So I'm glad I still made my pick, you know, but I picked the Dolphins to upset the Ravens on Thursday Night Football because I look at the data. And not only did I pick the Dolphins to win, I doubled down and doubled down and doubled down. I put all my points on Miami Thursday night, and it paid off. Because right now I am in first place in my pool. I'm 12 points ahead of second right now. So shout out to me. What else we got going on, man? So let's go ahead and talk some work talk right quick. Let's talk some of this work talk shit, you know, because we got to talk this work talk shit. You know, like I said, I'm the voice that says what you guys are too afraid to say because you're afraid of losing your paycheck. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm afraid of losing my paycheck too, but someone got to say this shit, and it might as well be me. So I'm going to go ahead and talk this shit about work. So let's talk about, I want to talk about weekend plans at work. All right. So in corporate America, you always want to have weekend plans. Right? Now, I don't literally mean you have to have a trip planned out. I mean, even though it would be helpful, but just going to work every day in your mind, even make up some shit. Just have a story in the back. Just always keep something in the back of your mind or like a little story about having weekend plans. All right? Like you always want to have weekend plans. Let me tell you a story that will illustrate the transgression of this rule. All right? So back when I was a young junior engineer, I was maybe like 3-4 years into my profession, you know. I remember I was trying to like earn my stripes, you know. I was really trying to make a name for myself, and I found this one issue with a product in the field, and I wrote up a CR. And if you don't know, a CR is a change request, you know. So basically, it's if you want to change anything about a product or the design, you have to go through a formal change. You have to go through formal change management, right? And it's a big process or whatever. But anyways, like part of change management is writing up a CR or a change request. And it's like it's a real detailed oriented thing, right? So anyways, I found this issue that I was like, hey, this is going to be a problem. Let me go ahead and jump on it now. So I wrote up the CR, and then I remember they had CCB, and CCB is Change Control Board. It's a committee of people that read the change request to determine if it's a valid change request or not. And they were like, Andre, I don't think this is an issue, yada, yada, yada. Right? They kind of gave me the whole little it was a whole hand waving thing, right? Because, you know, they got cost, schedule, and budget, and, you know, and they can't go over on any of them. So I said, okay, I understand. I'm just doing my diligence. I'm trying to call this out. So that was that. And then I remember maybe about a month. Come on, Dre. I remember about a month later. It was like a month later. I got a month later. My boss came by my cube, and he was like, "Hey, buddy." He was like, "Hey, man, what you go?" It was on a Friday afternoon too. Like I was getting ready to wrap up. I was getting ready to go enjoy my weekend, and this dude came by my cube. I was like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" It's about 3:45 on a Friday. He was like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going? Hey, man, you got any plans for the weekend?" And I was like, he was like, "Good." See that? See what I did there? I was like, and he said, "Good. Hey, yeah, we're gonna need you to come in over the weekend. Yeah, we have this issue in the rig, and we need someone to really go troubleshoot it to, solve it or whatever. So, yeah, just show up at the rig, on Saturday at 8 a.m. And work your normal shift or whatever, Friday and Saturday." So I was like, yeah, okay. I didn't have a chance to say no. I didn't have a chance to be like, "Oh shit." Like I didn't have the chance for all that, right? So me being a team player, I said, "You know what? Fuck it. My weekend is shot. Let me go ahead and take my ass on into work." And this is when there's no overtime here right now, right? If it was overtime, I would have been cool, but there was no overtime. So I was like, basically working for free. So I go into the rig and I'm trying to troubleshoot this thing. I'm like, "Yo, this issue looks familiar, but I don't know exactly what it is, but okay, whatever, right?" So I work Saturday from 8 to 5. I don't resolve the issue. And then I get up on Sunday, I go in, and then the close of business or close of Sunday is coming up. And it's like maybe like quarter to 4 at this time, right? Or it's like 4 o'clock. So I get a call and it's my boss. And he's like, and I'm like, "Hey man, I'm still trying to troubleshoot this." So I'm thinking he's calling because he wants status on where I'm at. So I'm like, "Hey, I can't replicate this issue. I can't even replicate it. So I can't even solve it. I don't know what the issue is. I thought I saw this before." And I'm kind of like rambling. And he goes, "Oh, no, that's okay. You can go home now." I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "I don't get off till 5. He's like, No, you can go home now." He said, "We just wanted to have a body on the project to show our customer that we're committed to resolving their issue." So in other words, they wanted a dummy on the project just so they could have hours on the books to show that, we're working on it. Right? So I come back to work. I'm a little pissed, but I'm like, man, whatever. Then a few weeks go by, and then come to find out, the issue I was trying to resolve in the rig that they had, it was something that I called out in the CR originally. So if they would have read the CR that I had and accepted it, right? They would have been on top of it, and it wouldn't have been an issue for me to come in to waste my time. So I said, okay, all right, you motherfuckers got me. Okay. So in life, that's what we do in life, right? You make adjustments, right? Like any good football team or any good championship caliber sports team, they're able to make adjustments, right? And that's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I did. I made adjustments, And where I fucked up at was I didn't have weekend plans, right? Like if my boss would have came to me, and asked me that, "Hey man, what you got going on this weekend?" I'd be like, "Oh man, I'm going out of town. Man, I gotta hurry up. I gotta get this shit. I gotta get on the road, man. I gotta go see my girlfriend." Just make something up, Like, man, I gotta get on the road. I gotta go see my girlfriend, man. We're struggling right now, man, and we're like everything's on the rocks right now, and I got a ring. I'm trying to propose to her, man. I want to make her my wife, but I gotta make this work, man. Like, you gotta just tell them some bullshit, Now, I'm not saying like, they don't know your personal life, but just make something up, you know what I'm saying? Or be like, "Oh man, yeah, I gotta get on the road, man. I got my best friend. He's dying, man. He's he's gravely ill, man, and he's on his deathbed, and man, this dude, man, I grew up with this dude, man, and man, I got to get on the road. I gotta go holler at him before he checks out, you know. Oh man, I gotta go holler. Like, you guys just have weekend plans, man, because when you do that, that's you getting on code with them, right? Because if they say, hey, can you come in on the weekend, and you say no, you better trust and believe that they have some kind of way or paper trail lined up to say that you're not doing your job. But if you have weekend plans, you have weekend plans, you know? And it's like, if they want, like, here's the thing, right? If someone comes to you at the last minute for something, what they want is probably not that important, you know, or the quality of what they want is probably not that important, right? It's probably just some, like, see, I value my time, you know? So if they know that they need me to work on the weekend, you're going to have to get a hold of me a couple weeks in advance and schedule and detail exactly what you want me to do, what the objective is, and why I'm doing it, right? But if you come to me at the last minute like that, it's probably some bullshit, like the situation I just explained to you, right? So you always want to have weekend plans, man. Just rehearse it, you know, like before you get up in the morning, you know, now it depends on your job description, right? If your job says, look, you have to work weekends, then, hey, look, I mean, you signed up for that, you know, so you got to go do it. You got to honor that. But if your job description doesn't have that, they start asking for all that, just be like, hey, man, they're like, hey, man, what you got going on the week? Man, I gotta go out of town, man. I gotta go check on my friend, man. He's not doing so well. All right, oh, for real? Wow, what's going on? Man, he's just messing up, man. Like, you know, he just has a lot of issues. I really can't go into the details, you know, or be like, man, nah, he's dealing with a lot at home. Like his family, like his loved one is really sick, or he's really sick, and I got to go look after him. So I got to go check on him. Like, just make something up, man. You know? Oh, nah, man, I'm going out of town. I got to go catch up with my girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? We're about to go on a ski trip, this, that, and the third, and we're doing, just make something up. That's why, like, I'm not really a fan of working in corporate America, but you got to have a pre-scripted weekend plan situation, kind of like somewhat thought out, you know? And just always keep that in the back of your head. So if someone comes at you at the last minute about some weekend shit, nigga, I got plans, you know, yada, 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 whoop-de-whoop. Sorry. Or don't even say sorry. Just be like, oh, man, I got plans, man. I got to do yada, 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 whoop-de-whoop, you know? And then if they hit you with the, hey, but we're going to need you to come in, like, this is where it gets interesting, because if they do that, that means that they didn't give a fuck about your plans to begin with. So now you got to hit them with the, well, okay, so what do I tell my friend that already made plans? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to kind of flip it back on them. Get curious. Like, so what am I supposed to tell my friend? Because I already made plans and I'm already going up there. Is there any way how we could, like, kind of bump this back to, like, the following week, and then just something? But just don't give up your weekend time in 5 minutes. You know, don't do that shit. Trust me. As you saw from my story, that shit does not pan out, because all it's gonna do is probably leave you upset. You know, so that's that. Have weekend plans, whether they're real or fake. Make sure they're all crafted out. And when they come by your desk with that bullshit, just be like, nah, I got plans, man. I gotta do whoop-de-whoop and whoop-de-whoop. Then get back to work. That's probably the best bet. Don't say yes, don't say no. Just be like, I got weekend plans. I gotta do yada, 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 yada. And then if you don't show up and they're expecting you to show up, you'd be like, well, I never confirmed, and I told them I had plans, so I don't know what the deal is. You know? And then they're gonna look. If someone's gonna ask you all that to be like, well, we need you to come in anyway, then you probably don't want to work there. It's probably time for you to get the fuck out, you know? So, but anywho, that's that. Let's go ahead and move on to the comedy bump portion of the show, where we talk about, you know, comedy trials and tribulations, or anything pertaining to that nature. So anywho, don't have a comedy bump in particular, but excuse me. But I got a very, very big showcase on December 12th. You know, if you don't know anything about comedy, a showcase is where you go off and you give it your best, and then you hope for whatever comes after that. You know, so I got 3 minutes on probably one of the U.S. or America's biggest stages. When I say big, not in size but in name. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. It's about a month away, or it's exactly a month away. And I've been playing around with like different ideas. Like, I mean, I'm always going to open mics and working out stuff. But I tried. Basically, what I've been doing is I've been going, like, getting up and just running my set, the set I'm going to do, or the set I think I'm going to do on Sunday or on the 12th. And I've been kind of like struggling a little bit because I'm not sure if I want to just do one joke that's really punched up all the way through for 3 minutes, or do I want to do 3 independent jokes and try to string all those into like one set, you know? So I'm still kind of like playing around with that right now, and I'm leaning towards the latter because these 2 jokes that I have, like, they're like, when I do it at home and when I time it out, it's like 3 minutes on the dot, but I'm like rushing and I'm looking at the clock. I'm doing the joke and I'm doing this shit. And that's not how I'm going to be when I'm on stage, right? So when I went out at a few mics and a few shows, I did it and I kind of sat in the pocket. Those jokes are more like 3.5 minutes, you know? So I don't want to be in a situation to where I can't get to the punchline. I can't get to the final punch of that and I get cut off, or I get my mic cut off and shit, or I run the light, you know, like severely. So I'm looking at just doing like 3 one quick hitters, boop, 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 thank you, good night. And that's probably what it's going to be. But I'm still playing around with it. I'm also, like I said, like, one thing I'm also doing is I'm also like I'm still going about my normal process and coming up with like new material and stuff, because you never know, I might have something that I come up with that's fire that I might be able to just throw into my set, you know? Like I said, like, I'm not looking for new material to throw in to my set last minute, but if something pops up, I'm not against using it, you know? So, but I'm also looking at like what all can go wrong during my set, you know? Like, you know, you could always have a heckler, or you could get up there and, you know, the host could, you know, piss off the audience, and now you're coming into a hostile audience, you know, or the host that gets up there, they're trying to kill so they can keep their host spot, you know, and then I gotta follow a monster. Like, there's all types of things that can happen. So main thing is I'm just gonna have fun, right? That's the main thing. But I'm always like thinking about what can go wrong, and I'm trying to think like, okay, what's a clever way? How can I approach this differently? So very nervous about that. I have jokes I know that'll work, but it's like just putting it all together to have an experience to where it's like, yo, he had even though he only had 3 minutes, he had the 3 minutes of the night. Like, I want people talking about my set throughout the rest of the night. Like, even though he only had 3 minutes, this motherfucker, like, I remembered him, right? So that's what I'm going after, or whatever, right? And kind of how I got here was, so when I originally signed up to do the showcase, my original date was, like, it wasn't until May of 2023. So, like, 2 years from now, right? But, you know, COVID happened, and then we had the virtual shows. Then there was a virtual competition. I got in at the last minute on that virtual competition, and I kind of did my thing. the first round, and but I didn't make it past the next round. But I guess I did well enough to the point to where they bumped my date up from May of 2023 to December 12th of this year, which is next month. So I think I'm doing something right. Now it's just a matter of capitalizing off that opportunity and just setting myself up to where, like, what's next, So, anywho, I'm just kind of free talking, trying to get my thoughts out there, trying to calm my nerves a bit. But what else, man? So what's up next for me? Don't have anything, like no major shows or nothing yet. But as I do, make sure you guys, follow me on my social medias. In particular, go on my Instagram. 8T is where it's at on all forms of social media. So make sure you follow me. Because that's where, like, I'll put all my shows, if I have shows coming up and stuff, on there. So right now I don't have any shows. I'm really just doing mics, and trying to make sure I'm ready for the showcase on the 12th. But like I said, I might have more shows pop in, and if I do, you guys will find out first on my social media, right? So before we conclude, I want to make sure I want to invite you guys to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, you know what I'm saying? And if you haven't done so already, AT is where it's at on all forms of social media. Follow me. I think I said everything I need to say. Feel free to jam up the comment section, comment, do whatever you want in the comment section. Ask questions or whatever, because like I said before, they might become new topics to new shows that I do in the future. But with all that being said, that's all, folks. I'm out. Peace.